By 1526, a Portuguese ship had completed the first of what would become many vessels that traveled across the Atlantic Ocean. A mysterious new conquest had begun, and over the years, 12 million of Africa's children were enslaved and on a voyage to the New World. A grueling journey would claim the lives of millions. The ones who survived would begin life anew as the beasts of labor that held up a plantation system institution that fortified European empires, decimated Native American peoples, and forever changed foreign ecosystems. Ghana, Angola, Guinea, Nigeria, the Congo, Togo, and Benin were the homes of many of the enslaved, but West Africans from the Senegal Valley were known to be experts in farming rice, and rice would make the voyage along with the people. The Moors had already introduced rice to Europe in the 10th century, but as transatlantic colonization happened in places such as Mexico, Brazil, the Caribbean, and later the coastal United States, rice became a blank palette, a foundation on which spices would color fruits from the sea and beasts of the land to comprise the modern diet. The stage was set for a culinary odyssey powered by African foodways. Palm oil, yams, okra, black-eyed peas, saltfish, ackee, bananas, cilantro, onions, chickpeas, garlic, citrus fruits, plantains, mangoes, dried shrimp, coconut milk, and beans would soon be part of a melange of Creole culture. As the European ships from Portugal, Spain, and France settled with the enslaved Africans they brought with them, they were met by Native American cultures who had been living off the land for close to 15,000 years. As languages and nationalities collided, interesting new flavor profiles in the kitchens were established. Cooking techniques brought over from West Africa would utilize new ingredients such as cassava, papaya, sweet potatoes, peanuts, guavas, corn, tomatoes, and peppers. Coffee and tobacco ripened under the sun, and the air was filled with a cacophony of drums mixed with the calls of exotic birds and chanting of laborers. Along with the sweetness of sugarcane and bitterness of blood, over 90% of enslaved Africans were imported to South America and the Caribbean. And it was the Caribbean sun and sea that cultivated generations of new recipes. But make no mistake, Africa has always been part of the seasoning.
Welcome to Gifts from the Ancestors. This is our new video series. I'm Chef Sherry.
And I'm Chef Air.
And we're bringing this to you as a way to exalt our ancestors, to share the influences of West African cuisine in Southern cooking. And we're going to start off by telling you a little bit about ourselves and Chef Air.
Okay. I come to you, basically, I'm from Texas, but we all started out in New Orleans and Haiti. My great-grandfather had come from Haiti after the war and had settled in New Orleans on a sugar plantation where he met my great-grandmother. And from my great-grandmother was my grandmother, who gave me my love for cooking, and she was a caterer also. And I learned pretty much everything from her, even down to find out what a Scotch bonnet pepper was, which she loved to cook with. I started out basically in corporate America, left that alone, and I opened a cakery and dessert bar. Started out with pastries and cakes, and then I actually went to the savory side, which I really now enjoy. And that's what I do now. I'm an owner and proprietor for Heirlooms Cakes and Catering.
Okay, and similar to Chef Air, my background is Louisiana Creole, and my family heritage is from St. Martinville and New Iberia. And my grandparents and great-grandparents grew up in a smaller community nearby called Lorville. And so as a young child, I was introduced to Creole culture, Creole cooking. So I want to make a distinction about Creole and Cajun cooking. Cajuns are the Acadians who came from Canada by way of Nova Scotia, and the Creoles are the gens de couleur who were in Louisiana, and they have the African, Spanish, and French heritage. And so those dishes that you get from Creole cooking, the robust sauces and the spices come from that heritage. And so I learned to cook from her, and I met Chef Air about 1.5 years ago, and she was our signature chef for a health event here in Waco, and Chef Air and I decided to collab. And so I was teaching West African influences on Southern cuisine at our community college here, McLennan County Community College, and I decided to take this a step further and do some research. So when looking at the African influences, we know that they came through the Middle Passage. There were things that were new to them. The terrain was different. The ingredients were different, but somehow they made that work and transitioned all of those wonderful cooking techniques into Southern cuisine. So that is what we'll be looking at over the next 4 episodes. Our first episode will be sweet potato peanut stew, and it's a West African dish. Then we'll be preparing sauces 2 ways. We'll look at the West African tomato stew and the Creole sauce. And then Chef, tell them what you're going to prepare in episode 4.
In episode 4, I'll be doing okra and tomatoes, which was one of my grandmother's favorite. We had it pretty much in all of our special occasions. And thank you for our ancestors that came over that held on to the okra, because a lot of them came through the Middle Passage, and that was one of the things that they had through the Middle Passage was the okra. They were able to plant and cultivate here. The other thing that we'll be cooking also in the episode will be cassava chip and fish, which will be like our version of fish and chips.
Right. And the interesting thing about the seeds that they brought over, a lot of the women would put the seeds in their hair.
Yes.
And so our hair has always been a source of inspiration. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel below.
Or you can look at our website at giftsfromtheancestors.com.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.